go over the process of taking out your stock seat and putting in a racing seat. Now, I have a racing seat that I have worked on for a little while to make it as effective as I can for actually driving around in the car and maintaining the airbags. A lot of people have problems where they slap the racing seat in here. It's just a seat and the rails, and there's nothing else to it. And then the car has problems because it doesn't register the airbag that's in the factory seat. You get the airbag light on the dash. I've managed to figure out how to get that resolved. So check it out. This video is for your entertainment purposes only. Whatever you do with your seats, your airbags, that is all on you. That is not on me. Your safety is your own to worry about. I cannot guide you. I cannot hold your hand. So this video is for entertainment purposes only. Everything you do is at your own risk. It's extremely important to remember to disconnect the battery. But first thing you need to do is take the bolts out that hold the seat in. Now you're going to want to leave the battery connected for this step because you have to move the seat back and forth. And to do that, you need the electricity connected. All the bolts have a plastic housing over them, and you're going to need to pry that up. If you're extremely precious about your car, you're going to want to take a lot of time here because you can mar these very easily. They are down pretty well. Now that the fronts are done, you got to slide the seat all the way forward to get to the backs. And here are your back covers. Again, take your time with them to avoid marring as much as you can. Seats are held in with a T50 bit. Slide the seat on back again so you can access these bolts in the front. You'll probably be able to get your seat back a little bit more than I can because I have the harness bar in the back, which prevents it from moving too much. And get those two bolts removed. A 10mm socket to the negative terminal will do the trick. Go ahead and loosen that on up. Do not drop or lose that little bolt nut. And make sure the negative cable is safely pushed away. Now that the battery is disconnected, I like to just hit the brake. Make sure that there's no power left in the system. Pull the seat forward as much as you can, like that. And you'll be able to move it around pretty freely, you'll find. Now at this point, you'll need to disconnect the two wiring harnesses from underneath. Another very effective method is to just lean the seat backwards like this. And you'll find the two connectors are right here. And they'll be easy to remove. The only thing you gotta remember is you may scratch up the metal, or you have to be careful. Now that the seat is completely disconnected from the car, there's one final step that not many people show you that I will. You want to remove the headrest because that will help you get the seat out of the car with the least amount of incident. So just go ahead, press in the button, just keep working it up. I wish I had my two hands available to me right now. So one button, one button, one button, one button. Get it all up like that. Lean it back if you have to. But boom, take that headrest right off. All right, folks, I'm back in the picture now because here comes the part we all love. It's taking the seat out of the car. Make sure you got your seatbelt disconnected from the seat. It's nice and loose. You don't want to scratch up anything here. If you were a really wise man, you could put a blanket down to protect it, just to be sure. I already have some scratches on the panel here, so I'm not going to get too precious about it. I do have my harness hooked into the back there. The seat isn't heavy, but it's not light, so you just want to be careful. Get it out, put it down. One thing you want to remember is the feet on the bottom here sticking out. You don't hit anything over here on the car. So this here is my racing seat. It's CORBEAU. It's got nice bolsters here on the shoulders, here in the hips. It's got super steady padding to hold you in. It's got the hole for the 5th point. My harness is a clip-in. So here, I just keep them on there. Those are the clips that go on. Now what I did, and this is the secret to making a successful racing seat, is I got a stock seat out of a wrecked 2017 GT. Sorry for the interruption in the video, looking at the seat, but I want to be clear about something I don't think I mentioned properly in the video. That is that when you get that stock seat out of a wreck, what you're really doing is you're taking it all apart and you're taking out the wiring harness. You really just want the whole seat for the wiring harness and that extra seatbelt receptacle. I'll explain more into that later in the video, but having that extra seatbelt receptacle allows you to keep your seatbelt receptacle on your stock seat that you've taken out and use that extra one now to plug your seatbelt into when it's on the harness so that it reads the seatbelt is buckled up if you're using a harness in the car. So that's why you want to go find a seat from a wreck, because it's cheap. I got mine for $50. The airbag was blown, no big deal. What you need to make it work are these resistors. This is just unfortunately you have to buy a whole box of them where I found them. It says 2.2 ohms. This is the one that you want. I wish I could hand each one of you watching this right now a resistor to make your life a little bit easier. But you'll get, I got 100 of them, and I only needed one. But I guess it's good to have extras. 2.2 ohms. These are made by Edge Elec. I got them on Amazon. Now, you should find out if other model years will have the same wiring harness as your stock seat. So what I did was I took the extra seatbelt receiver off of the blown seat and I attached it. The CORBEAU rails do have an ear here to attach it to. It uses the stock bolt. And then underneath the seat here, you can see this mess of wiring. Now, with this wiring, there's a couple of important pieces that you need to have. First off, you really only need the one connector. One connector does the ABS. The other connector just does like the heated seats and stuff like that. So it's this black connector here, which is the one that you're going to need to keep. But you need to maintain the seat position sensor. So this little guy right here tells the airbags how far the seat is. This probably is not working properly the way it should. It controls, this is about where it's located on the stock seat, so this is where I've located it on my racing seat. This little part right here is the one that's the most important. It's got a connector with a yellow and a red stripe, and it looks like it's purple and greenish. But this is where the airbag normally plugs into. And when you buy a seat from a wreck, it's probably going to have a blown airbag. If it doesn't have a blown airbag, I would be very careful with it because you don't want that airbag to blow on you while you're working with it. What I've done is I've put the resistor into this, into the terminals on this connector, sealed it off with a cap, and then ran electric tape over it to hold it all together. And that's what's going to eliminate the airbag light on your dashboard. You're also going to need to make sure that you plug in the seatbelt receptor to this harness so that it registers when something's plugged in. You can see here the feet of this. I've wrapped them up real good with electric tape. Why? Because they are super sharp from the factory. I wish CORBEAU would have made rubber slip-on feet for these, but they didn't. They left them just completely bare metal, which scratches the body of the car when you put them in. It also makes it really dangerous when you're taking the seat in and out of the car. I've actually dented and scratched my car with this back foot because I was not being as careful as I should, taking it in and out of the car, and it bumped into the metal so lightly and it still left a mark. So please do yourself a favor and wrap these up real good like I did. If you're choosing to go with a 5-point harness the way I did, you can drill into this part of the frame rail. CORBEAU approves this. I've talked to them. So you drill a hole and you use a nut and bolt to attach the 5th point to it, and then you simply run it through the hole under here. Make sure you read all the guidelines and you have it set up correctly. There is a correct way and there's lots of incorrect ways. Also, make sure you're using grade 10 hardware to connect it. Alright, now it's time for the moment of truth, which is putting the seat into the car. You can see here, I've got a big open area where the seat used to be. See the scratches on that metal there? That's what happens with the bare metal feet on the CORBEAU rails. It will scratch up that paint, putting it in and out real quickly, real easily, which is why I now have it wrapped up in electric tape. Plant it in there. Now I do have the harness here, which adds an extra layer of fun for me. First thing I want to do, same as before, lean the seat back, make the connection on the wires. There's 2 harnesses underneath here. Again, we're only going to need 1. This is a premium car, by the way, premium performance pack. Alright, the connector is connected. Alright. And now this has manual rails unlike the stock seat. With that 5th point on there, you stand a real chance of snatching your fingers, sliding it back and forth. Start the bolt a little bit before you start impacting it or wrenching it in. You do not want to cross thread this. I'm going to do the old trick of getting them all in lightly and then tighten them down. Alright, now the seat is installed in the car. If I didn't have this harness, I would still feel pretty good about this 3-point seatbelt. I'm thin, and it's tightly across my lap. It rides right on top of here. There's plenty of give in it, and it allows flexibility. I'm not going to go into the differences right now between a 3-point restraint such as this and a full harness. I feel like that's a whole different conversation about safety, and we're not going to touch on that today. I feel pretty secure, and this is what I might do on my next race day. It keeps you really well planted. Alright, now I've got the seat harness completely out of the car. I'm going to hook up the 3-point seatbelt. If I was to do what CORBEAU wanted and ran it through here exactly, it would feel really tight across the lap, but it wouldn't reach the belt over here appropriately. It would start here and come up across diagonally. So I'm just going to run this right over this like it would with your normal seat. Pull it tight. It feels good. It feels good on the lap. It feels good on the shoulder. Allows play so that in case you do have a problem, you can move forward and hit the airbag. You don't submarine out underneath it. Submarining is what happens when you can't move forward on top and all the momentum from your body goes out underneath the seatbelt. As you can see, I can slide out underneath the seatbelt pretty well. I wouldn't want that to happen. So that's how it looks when you use a 3-point seatbelt. Do I feel as good as I do with the stock seat? That's debatable, but I do feel secure. Now, if you weren't going to run a harness in this car, what you would want to do at this point is take your seatbelt, run it behind, and clip it into the seatbelt. So that way it would register as you have your seatbelt connected all the time if you have your harness on. Once you feel good that you've got everything connected securely and the seat is plugged in, and you've done a good job putting that resistor into the airbag socket, you can go ahead and reconnect the battery. All right, the battery is reconnected. Car's alive again. Time for the moment of truth. Driver door, hood ajar. Okay, yeah. All these warnings I'm getting. Now on my dashboard here, let's start the car. Vehicles on, trunk's open. As you can see here, all the things I have is that the parking brake is on and my seatbelt is disconnected. Let's go ahead and buckle in. Now that's gone. It's telling me my door, my trunk is open. Oh, the hood's open. Duh. And I don't have an airbag light. And I do have the racing seat in the car, so you can tell that works. So there you have it. That's my process for putting a racing seat into my 2017 Mustang and not getting the airbag light. I don't want the airbag light on because I'm not sure if with that on, that disables the complete airbag system. Once you break that loop, it could be a problem. Now, if you put this in and you start getting an airbag light, that does not mean you have a hard code for your airbags. There's a difference between a hard code and a soft code. If you get a hard code, as in you blow an airbag, then you're going to have to take your airbag module out from the center console area, whole different story, and get that reset. Now you're not supposed to do that. Only a body shop is supposed to do that once they've got the car certified. But you can get an airbag light, and then once the problem is resolved, it goes away. And that's a soft code, and I had that. It took me a long time to get this figured out. I also put the GT350 steering wheel on here and had a problem with the connection of the airbag and the horn button, and that was causing a soft light also. Once that was resolved, the airbag light went away. There was no need to reset the module. So if you get an airbag light in this process, that is not a hard code. That does not mean it has to go into a shop to get reset. Getting the airbag module out is probably about an hour process. I did that because I did not understand hard soft codes and what was what, and I could not find the problem to fix it to get rid of the light, so I thought I had a hard code. So please feel free to comment. I would love a like. I would love a follow. I want to bring more intense videos like this to you. Please remember that